What's up, guys? How we doing?
I guess first of all, welcome to Washington.
Oh yeah, happy to be here for sure.
What are some of the challenges and adjustments you have to make, kind of initiating yourself into this franchise in the community?
Not much. I mean, I'm from right down the road, Richmond, Virginia, so adjusting to the community is kind of been open arms for me. A lot of family in town. I think the only challenges is really the same ones you get every year with a new team of anybody, because new players come to every team every year. Is trying to formulate an identity and just trying to get on the same accord, write down our goals, and trying to get a picture of who we want to be this year. So.
A lot of the players have been discussing about the vibe, the energy, the culture here. What's it been like from your perspective? What have you been seeing?
I think it's been really, really good. I think this team is starting out just formulating, trying to really grow close together. A lot of us have come from different places, even the coaching staff, and I think, expectations for this team, just from the outside, have been obviously pretty low. But I think for us, everybody here has a chip on their shoulder, especially myself, coming from where I come from. If anybody know my story, but I think that's the biggest thing about it. This team right here hasn't lost any games, and we haven't won any either. So the biggest thing is that we get to set our own destiny.
Early on, what have you seen as far as the process? What has really stood out to you?
I would say really just the way Coach Quinn goes about things. Anytime for me having a head coach that's a defensive guy, man, it brings a different mindset. So just the aspect of how we go about work every day. Going back to it reminds me of the Denzel movie, starting out with the bags every single day. So it's kind of just getting back in that mode of football, and you got to be able to cut it on every single day, because once we hit that line, it's time to go to work. So I think just that having that mindset of, our foundation is going to be hard work, and everything that comes after that is going to be because of it. So.
You mentioned the outside expectations are a little low. How do you guys see that, and is that something that you feel like the locker room is aware of?
I think you find anything, as a player in this league, you take anything from the outside that you can use as motivation. I mean, even myself, I feel like most players experience this. People, family, you find out that you signed in here, people are like, oh man, so happy for you. But, it's not like when I was in San Fran last year and I signed, people like, oh man, you're going to win the Super Bowl. So for me, it's more so like, okay, regardless of what you think, you don't know who's on our team, you don't know the type of guys that we got, the coaching staff, and I feel like that's just, it really gets me and everybody in the locker room hyped up to go out there and, put on a show.
Have you been able to go back to Richmond since you've been here, or what have they been able to come up here?
I went back for Mother's Day. For Mother's Day, see moms, everything was good. So my family gonna be up here. I'm the youngest of 9 children, so everybody gonna be coming up here. Me being on the West Coast most of my career kind of stopped a lot of things for family to come see me. So I'm excited.
You mentioned lots of guys from lots of different places coming here, and on defense you get a lot of new faces, including Bobby Wagner. To have a guy like that with his career and the position he's playing, how important do you think that is to have him to get everybody kind of on the same page?
It's major, especially when you have a whole new defense. It's major having a leader like that, somebody who leads by example. That's something that I feel like, when you have a team that's changing the culture and setting a new standard, you have to do people that lead by example. That's something that I take from him, and I try to do that every single day, just by how he works, this time he comes into the building every day, the way he goes about calling his plays, a man who doesn't say, he doesn't speak too much, but he speaks when it's needed, and that's the biggest, most important thing, you know what I mean? I think the young guys and even the other vets around the team kind of just get behind him, and that's something that I take quite note of, so it's been good.
What are some little things that you've seen from him already in terms of that leadership role that he's either talked to you about or shown you guys or whatever?
I think mostly just the way he communicates. I think that's really good for a defense. Obviously when you have a new group of guys and a new scheme, communication is major. So the amount of talking that I hear, whether it's a good day or a bad day, just the amount of talking that I think he demands from the defense, and also just the way he goes about his work through his training. Like I said, he gets in here at a certain time every day and he's consistent. So I think just the way he goes about his work is something that, as we get into training camp, and it's not final. Guys are still fighting for roles on this team and still fighting for a position on this team. So I think if you get behind the way he goes about his work, you'll give yourself a much better fighting chance.
What's your early impression of Jayden?
Jayden, oh man, good kid, real good kid. I told him already, man. The biggest thing being a pick like that, and I was 4th overall pick coming out, don't be afraid to be great. You know, you ain't got to ask nobody to be great. So, you know, regardless of the fact, you set the standard, you set the tone for how you want to approach this. You ain't got to ask nobody to do extra. You don't have to ask nobody to be a leader. You just be yourself and be the same person, and you just, you know, you grow and you mature. Man, it'll take off for him. But just, you know, just grab it by the horns for sure, because he got all the attributes and everything. I think he just needs somebody like Vets to get behind him and really tell him, man, like, nah, regardless of who you is and what you doing out there, like, we got your back for sure.
Awesome. Thanks, Clelin.
Appreciate it.